But it's great to be back on the shore, and it's great to see Rob. Rob does such an amazing job. I served in 6 years in the House of Delegates with Rob Loxham, and he is such a great voice for the shore in Richmond, and it's great to be back. I think the main thing, and it's really the purpose of today's lunch, is just to say thank you. You know, I tell my daughters all the time that gratitude is one of the most underrated of all human traits. Ingratitude's one of the ugliest, but gratitude's one of the most underrated. And I know on behalf of myself, on behalf of the governor, we just have such gratitude for the men and women that carry the badge and protect us. And candidly, the last couple years, you've had a lot of people that have said, I think, in different positions of power, that have said some pretty irresponsible things, demonizing those that wear the badge. And, you know, I've enjoyed being Attorney General these past couple months. It's an amazing time in this season of service that I'm in right now, but by far the hardest thing, part of this job is attending the end of watches for some of the very best that Virginia has ever produced. And I remember being asked to speak at the service for Michael Chandler. He was an officer in Big Stone Gap who was doing a wellness check, and he got gunned down, and I got a chance to talk to his cousin who also was an officer. And he talked about how much Mike loved the job, but he said this to me, and it always stood with me. He said he loved the job, but he also carried the burden of the badge with him after work hours. And it really crystallized that phrase, the burden of the badge. Because for most people that get up in the morning and they go to work, it's a 9-to-5 job, or they punch their shift and they're done with work, and they go home. But if you have the burden of the badge, sometimes work follows you, because you literally have seen, in many ways, the very worst of humanity. I put on a coat and tie every morning, usually. It's a pleasure when I get to put on some cowboy boots and jeans and be like a normal person instead of being in an office in Richmond. But for the men and women in this room, when you all go to work in the morning, you got to put on a bulletproof vest. There's no other job in America that's like that. So I think it's important as Americans we recognize you have the hardest job in America. And it's really, really important, and I think it's so great what Delegate Bloxham does, is it's important to show gratitude, and it's just important to say thank you. I know that we have a lot of, I think, volunteer fire and rescue squad here as well. And that's particularly our first responders at a special place. My wife's is the chairman of the board for the Virginia Beach Rescue Squad Foundation, which is all volunteer. And that is amazing as well. You in many ways represent the very, very best of America. There is not a country on the planet that gives the amount of volunteer hours every year as Americans. Not a country on the planet. There's not a country on the planet that gives the percentage they do to charity as Americans. And it's actually very, very unique. It's part of our American character. And I have great appreciation for what this country is. Nobody can pronounce my last name, don't feel bad. It's Miaras, it's Cuban. And my mother fled Cuba as a pretty scared, homeless 19-year-old teenager. So I'd love to say America's a nation of second chances. It gave a second chance for my family. But I remember listening to a podcast of an Indian American immigrant, and he brought his parents over to see America for the first time. They've never been. And he was trying to think before they got off the plane what was going to fascinate them the most about the trip. Was it our shopping malls? Was it our grocery stores? Was it all the cars on the road. What exactly about America was going to capture their attention the most? And they get off the plane, they get in the car, and they get on the roadway, and they pass an Adopt a Highway sign. Have you seen those before? And it's Adopt a Highway by a local Rotary Club. And his parents get fixated on this. Wait, who owns the highway? Do they own the highway? No, they don't own the highway. Well, why would they adopt the highway? Like, do they charge a toll on the highway? No, they don't charge a toll. But why does it say that they've adopted it? And they said, well, they go out twice a month on a Saturday on their day off from work, that Rotary Club, and and they beautify it. They pick up trash on the side of the road and they clean it. Well, why would they do that? Well, they saw a problem, they wanted to fix it. Do they get paid for it? No. Do they get any special recognitions? No, not really. What in the world would ever possess them to do something like this on their time off? And he said it's because they're Americans. They saw a problem and they went and they fixed the problem. That is part of who our DNA is. And so, Alexis de Tocqueville once said, he was a Frenchman who did this observation about America, traveled all across the country in the 1800s, and he said this about us, and he noted how Americans, if they see a problem, they fix it. They don't wait for a king, and they don't wait for somebody, they fix it. And he said this, he said, America is great because she is good. But if she ever ceases to be good, she will cease to be great. And so for our volunteer first responders, you're very much the very, very best of who we are as a people. So I also want to show gratitude for that. So in the spirit of just Thanksgiving, thank you. I want to thank the staff or the volunteers that served us. Fantastic meal. What was the bakery for the baked goods? What was the bakery there?
Corner Bakery.
Corner Bakery. From Accomack?
Nancock.
And Nancock, fantastic. That was fantastic. And I do want to thank as well my good friend Jen Keegans, who also serves in the General Assembly from us. She does such a great job in law enforcement, being pro-law enforcement, as well as Rob. So I want to thank her for being here. But that's really the message I just want to give you all, is thank you on behalf of your governor and behalf of the men and women that serve underneath me in the Attorney General's office. We would love to work alongside you all and with you, and just thank you for being the very, very best of what Virginia is. Thank you. God bless. I mean, Rob wanted me to see, does anybody have any questions for me? Is there anything kind of on your mind as either law enforcement or just as a concerned citizen? Don't feel bad. Okay. Then I take it by your silence, you think we're doing a great job. Okay, continue to go. Okay, great. All right, thank you all. God bless you.
Thank you all for being